I woke up in my bed like any other morning, but something felt deeply wrong. My mom called for breakfast, but Kyung stood in the doorway, his eyes red, like he hadn't slept in days. He didn't say good morning. He said I'd been missing for 7 days. My legs hit the cold floor, and my mind flooded with memories I couldn't place. Clashing swords, a dying man's face, a war on a planet that shouldn't exist. They all hit me at once. I touched my cheek. My fingers came away wet, but I didn't remember crying. My backpack sat by the desk. The moon keychain Kyung gave me glinting in the light. I didn't just vanish. I was fighting a war on a planet light years away. I saw his face, raven hair, scar across his cheek, bleeding and calling my name. Kyung stepped forward, his hand outstretched, but I couldn't look at him. I had to go back before the next supermoon faded, before it was too late. My school uniform lay on the desk, but I could still feel the weight of the alien cloak on my shoulders. That keychain wasn't just a gift. It was a link to 2 worlds. The moon shone through my window, bright and full, just like the night I vanished. Kyung knew I was hiding something, but he didn't push. He just said he'd help. I didn't know how I'd get back, but I knew I had to try. I packed my backpack, shoving in clothes and my journal, anything that might help me remember. Kyung handed me a cup of hot chocolate, his fingers brushing mine. I flinched. I reached for my phone, the one with his face saved in my camera roll, but it was gone. The next supermoon was in 2 months. That's all the time I had to get back to him. It wasn't just a moon. It was my only way back. Back at school, the halls buzzed with noise, but I felt trapped in a silent bubble. Laughs and shouts wrapped around me, but I couldn't shake Merrick's battle cries ringing in my ears. Then I saw a moon poster. My chest seized like someone was squeezing my heart raw. Kyung reached for my shoulder, warm and gentle. I flinched like his touch burned me before I could think. My textbook slipped from my grasp, scattering across the floor like shattered glass. I froze, the sound of pages flapping loud as gunshots in my ears. Kyung knelt to help, his fingers brushing mine. I snatched my books back, eyes burning with shame. He didn't say a word, just looked at me like he already knew I was leaving again. I turned and walked away, the moon keychain on my backpack cold against my hip. As I rounded the corner, a thought crashed into me. That park wasn't just where I vanished. It was the key. The portal between worlds was hidden there, waiting for me to unlock it. But how? I had no idea how to open that door between worlds again. Kyung picked up the last page, my doodle of Mirak's moon, smudged and messy. He hesitated, then tucked it into his pocket, like he was keeping a piece of me I'd left behind. I sat through class, but my mind was already back in that park, under the bright supermoon. I doodled moon after moon, my pen pressing so hard it tore the paper. I had to find a way back. For Woon, for the part of me that couldn't stay here. The clock ticked on, but every second felt like a wasted chance to get home. When the bell rang, I ran outside, and there he was holding my favorite iced coffee, like he knew I needed it. He handed it to me, but I couldn't meet his eyes. I knew I was breaking his heart, but I had to go. My hand tightened around the cup, the moon logo on it a taunt. I wanted to stay, but I couldn't. Kyung touched my hand, and this time, I didn't flinch. I let him hold it, just for a second. I wanted to tell him everything about Mirak, about Woon, about the portal, but I couldn't. We walked home together, holding hands, but my eyes were fixed on the moon, hanging in the sky. I knew then, when the next supermoon came, I'd be back at that park, ready to find my way home. I ran to the park like a madwoman. My only link to Woon was there. That oak tree, where the supermoon took me, held my last chance to find him. I tore through the grass, fingers scraping dirt, desperate for my phone. The one with Woon's face saved in it, my only piece of him on Earth. But it was nowhere to be found. My last link was gone. I felt my chest tighten. I'd lost him all over again. I collapsed onto the grass, my whole body shaking with grief. Then I saw Kyung, standing at the entrance, looking so worried. He walked over slowly, like he was afraid to break me more. He didn't say anything at first, just held out a bottle of water. I looked up at him, and he could see how broken I was. The next supermoon is in 2 months, he said softly. A spark of hope lit up in me. 2 months. I had 2 months. I sat up straight, my grief replaced by fierce determination. I'd find a way back to him no matter what it took. I looked up at the moon, wondering if he was looking at it too. Kyung squeezed my hand, and I knew he'd help me fight for this. We stood there for a long time, watching the moon climb higher. I made a promise to myself I'd never lose him again. We walked away, but my heart was already racing toward that next supermoon. What I didn't know was my phone was right there, hidden in the grass. The oak tree stood silent, holding the secret of our 2 worlds. I could see it now, Woon was waking up, his hand flying to his bandaged stomach, face twisted with pain. Sierra was there, her cold, battle-hardened face softening for the first time since the war ended. But Gui stood in the doorway, shoulders hunched like he carried the weight of the entire world. He couldn't forgive himself for what Binju's dark magic made him do to Sierra, so he ran. Gui vanished into the woods that night, and Sierra would spend decades searching for him. She called his name again and again, but only the cave walls echoed her voice back. Woon tried to sit up, groaning as sharp pain shot through his wounded stomach. Sierra pushed him back down, her hand firm yet gentle, whispering that he needed to rest. The air smelled of healing herbs, but a heavy silence hung thick in the cave that night. His voice was hoarse when he asked, where had Gui gone? Why didn't he stay? Sierra didn't answer. She just stared at the cave floor, her shoulders slumping with guilt. He knew then Gui was gone, and he might never come back to face what he'd done. Sierra spoke then, her voice sharp with resolve. She would find Gui, no matter how long it took. Gui wandered the woods alone, haunted by the memory of Sierra's terrified face. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Sierra's pale face, frozen in fear as he raised his claws. Back in the cave, Sierra sorted herbs, but her eyes never left the cave entrance for long. Wound's scar stung, a reminder of the war and of Dan. Oh, gone without a trace. She changed his bandages with gentle hands, but her mind was already planning her search. Gui stood on the cliff, howling at the moon like he was begging the stars for forgiveness. That night, Sierra made a promise to herself she would find Gui, no matter what the cost. As for Woon, he stared at the cave ceiling, wondering if Dan-O was looking at the same moon as him. Back at home, breakfast tasted like ash. All I saw was Woon's face, bleeding, calling my name. Mom set down my favorite moon-shaped bowl, but I couldn't even lift my spoon. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Woon, pale, bleeding, whispering my name. I pushed the bowl away. I had to get back to him. I had to find a way. I locked myself in my room. The only thing that mattered was finding the portal. I flipped open my laptop. Every supermoon article, every myth, I'd read them all. I typed supermoon interdimensional portal into the search bar. My hands were shaking. One article popped up, supermoons as portals between worlds. My heart skipped a beat. I clicked it. This had to be the key. This had to be how I got back. The article said only someone with a pure heart could activate the portal. Did I have that? My moon keychain glinted in the screen light. Kyung gave it to me for my birthday. I'd spent every free period reading about supermoons, myths, anything that could take me back. I wouldn't give up. Not until I held Woon again. Not until I went home. The article talked about crystal shards, lunar energy, the exact night I disappeared. I stayed up all night, searching, reading, hoping. The moon hung high, watching me. It mentioned crystal shards glowing blue, just like the one I found in the park. I was tired, but I couldn't sleep. Every second wasted was a second away from Woon. I clenched my fist. I would find the way. I would get back to him, no matter what. I clicked another article. I wouldn't stop until I found every clue. The sun came up, but I didn't care. I was one step closer to Woon. The moon was still in the sky. It was watching me, waiting for me to find the way. Kyung gave me this telescope. I used to watch the moon and imagine Woon was looking back. While I waited on Earth, Woon didn't let grief stop him, not for a second. He walked through our kingdom's ruins, lifting stones, fixing roofs, leading us forward. A tiny child approached him, holding a crumpled flower like it was a treasure. He tucked it behind his ear, smiling like he hadn't smiled in months. Sierra watched from the hill, her face tight with pride and sadness. She knew he was waiting for me, just like I was waiting for him. But she also knew something I didn't yet time moves differently on Mirak. He helped everyone he could, like he was filling the empty space I left. Every time he looked up, I knew he was searching for my face in the clouds. The survivors rebuilt together, hope growing stronger with every stone. Sierra tried to be strong, but I could feel her breaking inside. She walked away, like she couldn't bear to watch him wait any longer. The flower wilted, but he never took it off, never gave up hope. Slowly, our kingdom began to breathe again, but it wasn't the same without me. But the days on Mirak stretched longer than I ever imagined. Time was slipping away. He held a piece of the portal crystal, like it could call me back across dimensions. Sierra cried for what we lost, for the future we might never have. His scar was a reminder of the war we survived, but couldn't win together. He kept working, like building enough could bring me back to him. As the sun set on Mirak, I realized the truth: we were running out of time. The moon on Mirak was bright, but it wasn't our supermoon the one that brought us together. He stared at it every night, waiting for the sign that I was coming home. I thought I was alone with this impossible secret until the window creaked open. Kyung stood there, hot chocolate in hand, not here to question, just to stay. My eyes locked on the crystal drawing from Mirik, and I held my breath, waiting for the laugh. He flipped through the pages slowly, like he was trying to understand, not judge. For a second, I thought he'd call me delusional, but he didn't. He just looked at me softly. "If you need to go back to him," he said, "I'll help you every step of the way." My fingers brushed the moon keychain Kyung gave me suddenly. It meant more than a birthday gift. I'd been so focused on getting back to Woon, I forgot who was standing right beside me. The hot chocolate steamed between us, a warm bridge between two worlds I couldn't bear to choose from. I'd been so focused on getting back, I forgot I had 2 lives worth fighting for. He covered my hand with his, and I felt the weight of my secret lighten a little. The moon hung low in the sky, and for the first time, I didn't feel torn. I felt lucky. That crystal wasn't just a door to Woon, it was a reminder of the 2 loves I held. For the first time since I'd come back, I let myself rest. I didn't have to be strong alone anymore. A small smile tugged at my lips. Maybe I could have both worlds after all. He passed me the hot chocolate, and the warmth spread through my chest, warmth from the one who stayed. I took a sip, and the line between Earth and Mirik blurred. It didn't feel like a choice anymore. The moonbeams formed a path on the floor, and I knew I'd walk it with both of them in my heart. That keychain wasn't just a link to Woon anymore. It was a promise to protect both my worlds. We stayed there for hours, and I realized love doesn't ask you to choose. It asks you to fight for it. When dawn peeked through the window, I promised myself I wouldn't lose either of them. And as Kyung smiled at me, I knew he'd be right there with me, every step of the way. I howl at the moon, but my voice only echoes my unforgivable sin. I can't go back to her, not after what Binju made me almost do to Sierra. My claws almost stained with her blood. The guilt eats me alive every night. I run into the darkness, hiding from the one I love more than my own life. I thought disappearing would protect her. I was wrong. That same night, she came looking for me, her heart heavy with worry. Her voice cut through the wind, begging me to come back, but I couldn't answer. She found a tattered piece of my cloak, and hope flickered in her eyes. She swore she'd find me, no matter how long it took. Weeks turned into years. 64 years passed, and she never stopped coming. Eros stayed by her side, watching her hope never fade as time marked her face. Every week, she left flowers by the oak, waiting for a sign I was alive. She traced my claw marks as if they could bring me back to her. She stared into the forest every time, hoping to see my figure emerge. The sun set every week on her lonely search, but her hope never set with it. I watched her from the trees every week, my love growing stronger with each year. I saw her grow old, but I couldn't find the courage to face her. I kept the other half, a reminder of the night I lost her. I thought I'd hide in shadows forever, but fate had other plans. Then one night, she heard my howl, a sound she'd waited 64 years to hear. She ran into the forest without hesitation, her heart racing faster than decades. I heard her call my name, and for the first time, I didn't run. Kyung and I spent every free period in the library hunting for answers. We didn't talk about Woon, we just kept searching, heart in our throats. Then I found it, an old mythology journal, tattered and forgotten. He leaned over, and I held my breath, waiting for his reaction. The words jumped off the page. Supermoons are portals between worlds. But the next line froze me. They only stay open for 30 minutes. 30 minutes. That's all I'd have to choose. My forever. Kyung didn't flinch. He just covered my hand, steady and warm. My hand curled into a fist. How could I choose between 2 worlds that both felt like home? I looked out the window, at the moon just starting to rise. Time was running out. I pulled up the calendar. The next supermoon was only weeks away. Weeks to decide. He slipped me a sticky note with a smiley face. No pressure, just support. Tears pricked my eyes. How did I get so lucky to have both of them? The clock ticked louder in my ears. Every second was a second closer to the choice. I closed the book, my fingers brushing the worn cover. The answer wasn't in these pages. Kyung's hand landed on my shoulder. "We'll figure it out," he said, like he always did. I stared at the moon, brighter now. Woon was looking at this same moon, wasn't he? My moon keychain glinted in the light. A piece of both worlds, hanging on my bag. We packed up, silent. The library felt smaller, heavier, like it held all our fears. We stepped outside, into the night. The moon hung bright, waiting for me to choose. I never thought I'd sit on this throne, not after the war took everything. But here I am, crowned king. with the weight of our broken kingdom on my shoulders. Sierra stood beside me, inspiring our people to rebuild what we'd lost. Even the children gave me hope, small signs that we could heal. The crowd cheered, but I couldn't shake the empty feeling in my chest. All I could think about was her Dan. Oh, the girl from another world. As night fell, I snuck away to the place that connected us. The crystal chamber was in ruins, just like my heart after she left. Every step felt like a reminder of the day she vanished. I stood in the center, surrounded by the remains of our only connection. I whispered her name, like I did every night, hoping she could hear me. At first, nothing happened, until the walls started to glow blue. The light grew brighter, spreading across the broken stones like a river. I froze. This was the same light that brought her to us all those years ago. The entire chamber lit up, and for a moment, I swore I could feel her presence. I reached out, desperate to touch whatever part of her was still here. For a split second, I saw her face, just like she looked when we fought side by side. But it vanished as quickly as it came, leaving me alone in the dim light. I felt crushed, but also hopeful. She was out there, and the light meant she might come back. I stayed there all night, waiting, praying the supermoon would bring her back to me. I held a crystal shard close, a reminder that our bond wasn't broken forever. When dawn broke, I walked back to the palace, ready to fight for our future for both of us. The supermoon shone bright in both skies, a promise of what was to come. Every night, I stare at this keychain, a piece of two worlds tied to my bag. I lie here, counting the days until the supermoon brings me back to him. Kyung texts me every night, but part of me is already gone. I can't wait any longer. I need to go back, no matter the cost. My room feels like a cage now, holding me from where I belong. This keychain was Kyung's gift, but it anchors me to Woon too. I kept this cloak from Mirak, a reminder of the war we fought together. This cloak holds scars from the day I left him bleeding on Mirak's soil. I'm taking a piece of that world with me, even if I lose this one. The moon is getting brighter. It's almost time to go. I see his face in every shadow, hear his voice in the wind. Kyung has no idea what I'm about to do, how much I'll hurt him. I can't tell him the truth. It would break both our hearts. I've studied every book, every myth, to not miss this chance. Every page I read is a step closer to him. We're losing everything here. This book was my map, my only hope to cross between worlds. I'm taking all my research, all my hope with me when I go. I'm so scared, but I can't stay. Not when he's waiting for me. The moon is calling me. Soon, I'll answer. What I don't know is this choice will cost me more than I imagined. That supermoon doesn't just promise reunion, it promises sacrifice. Kyung's love is a comfort, but it's not the love I need to survive. Every day, I wander this forest, calling for the man I can't let go of. My voice echoes through the trees, but he never answers. I won't stop. I can't stop looking for him. I search every corner, every pile of leaves, hoping to find a sign, but I'm not alone. Eros follows me, always trying to make me give up. He says I'm chasing a ghost, that Gui's gone forever, but I know he's out there. I can feel him. Then I find in a tattered piece of his cloak, proof he was here. This is my sign. He's close. I know it. Eros says it's just a scrap, but I won't listen. I'll spend every day of my life looking for him, no matter how long it takes. I'll walk every path, search every shadow until I find him. Eros stays behind, but I don't care. I have to keep going. This small piece of cloth is my only hope, my only link to him. I stare at the sky, wondering if he's looking at the same sun as me. I whisper his name again, as if the wind might carry it to him. The forest is quiet, but my heart is loud, filled with only one thought. I will find him, no matter what it costs, no matter how long it takes. My journey isn't over. It's only just beginning, and I'll keep walking, keep searching, until I find the man I love. A week before the supermoon, Kyung led me to our favorite spot. The air smelled like coffee and old memories, but something felt heavy in my chest. I saw his hand fidgeting under the table. He had something for me. He pushed the small box across the table, his eyes soft with unspoken fear. Inside was a tiny telescope so I could watch the moon even on Mirak. I stared at it, my throat tight. He knew I had to go, even if it broke us both. He smiled, but his eyes held so much sadness, I could barely breathe. A tear fell on the lens. I knew I was already breaking his heart. Outside, the moon climbed into the sky, big and glowing like a promise. Through the lens, I swore I saw Woon staring at the same moon on Mirak. I wanted to stay for Kyung, but my heart was split between two worlds. He placed his hand over mine. Not saying a word, he knew exactly how I felt. The cafe was loud with laughter, but our little corner felt so quiet, it hurt. My moon keychain glinted in the light, my link to both lives I couldn't let go of. He refilled my coffee, trying to pretend everything was still okay between us. We sat there until the moon hung high, neither of us ready to break the silence. Through the telescope, I swore I saw Woon's face in the moon's glow, waiting for me. I thanked him, my voice cracking. He just nodded, knowing I had no choice. He squeezed my hand so tight it hurt, but I didn't pull away. I deserved the pain. We walked out into the night, the moon following us like a silent witness to my broken heart. I looked back at the cafe, knowing I might never be the same when I returned. I clipped the telescope to my backpack, a weight heavier than any I'd ever carried. Our shadows stretched long behind us, two people bound by a love that couldn't have a future. A tear hit the pavement, disappearing into the dark before I could even wipe it away. Kyung pulled me into a hug, and I let myself cry, knowing this might be the last time we were just us. I'm Woon, king of Mirik, and every night I draw the face I can't let fade. Papers covered with her smile fill my room, each one a piece of the love I lost. Every stroke is a memory, a reminder of the girl who vanished into the sky. Sierra brings me food every night, but I can't bear to face anyone right now. I lock myself away, trapped in the past, too blind to see what's coming. This diary is all I have left of her. Our secret, our love, our promise. Every page is a moment we shared, a life I thought I'd never get back. I trace her smile, wondering if she ever thinks of me, if she's even still alive. I stare at the moon every night, praying it will bring her back to me. Sierra knows I'm hurting, but she doesn't know how to help me, no one does. I can't imagine the pain she carries, watching me waste away like this. I cling to these memories like a lifeline, afraid to let go of the last piece of her. The wind carries her name, a whisper in the dark that makes my heart ache. I swear I hear her voice, like a ghost calling my name from the stars. I don't know it yet, but the moon she left through is about to bring her back. On Earth, the supermoon is rising, and the girl I love is preparing to cross back to me. I wait, unaware that my wait is almost over, that my world is about to be whole again. Sierra knows something is coming, something that will change everything we know. She keeps this crystal, a reminder of the day Dan-O vanished, and the day she might return. I draw her face again, not knowing that in just 1 week, I'll get to see it in person. This will be the last portrait I draw alone soon. She'll be here to draw with me. The supermoon's coming tomorrow, and my heart's torn in two. Kyung brought me to our old spot, trying to mend what's broken. But no matter how hard he tries, I can't stop thinking about Woon. He gave me this telescope, hoping I'd focus on the present. But when I looked through the lens, I saw something I shouldn't have. I swear, I saw Woon's face in the moon, scar and all. My hands shook so bad I almost dropped the telescope. Kyung grabbed my hand, trying to ground me back to earth. I leaned into him, desperate for any kind of comfort. We sat there for hours, hugging as the moon climbed higher. I must have fallen asleep, exhausted from the chaos in my head. Kyung held me close, making sure I was safe as I slept. But even in sleep, I couldn't escape him. My dreams were filled with Woon, young and hurt, waiting for me. He was reaching for me, begging me not to leave him behind. I ran to him, but something kept us apart. I couldn't reach him. I woke up crying, tears soaking Kyung's shoulder. Kyung didn't say a word. He just held me tighter. The moon was full now, bright enough to light up the whole park. Tomorrow, the supermoon comes. I have to make a choice. Kyung whispered he'd love me no matter what I chose. But the moon was calling me loud and clear. On Mirak, the supermoon blazed bright over the cliffs where we hid. I could feel ancient magic thrumming in the air. He'd hidden here for 64 years, trapped in guilt, running from the love he'd nearly destroyed. The supermoon's magic pulled him, forcing the transformation he'd fought for decades to suppress. His bones cracked, his form shifted, and a howl tore from his throat that shook the very valley below. That howl carried on the wind, reaching ears that had waited for that sound for a lifetime. In the palace, Sierra heard it, she'd know that howl anywhere, even after 64 long years. She didn't hesitate, didn't stop to explain. She ran, her feet pounding the palace floors toward the cliffs. Her heart raced faster than her feet, every beat screaming that this was real, he was finally within reach. She burst through the palace gates into the cold night, her figure vanishing toward the cliffs. The wind carried his howl again, and she ran faster, her legs burning, hope alive in her chest for the first time in decades. I could feel her desperation, her hope, every step bringing her closer to him. The howl stopped, and the world world went quiet. Only her ragged breathing filled the air. She stepped forward, hands shaking, terrified it was a dream, terrified she'd find nothing but empty cliffs. Then she saw him, not the wolf, but the man she'd loved, standing there in the moonlight. Gui had shifted back, his face weathered by time, but his eyes still held that familiar pain. They stood there for hours, saying nothing, just staring finally together after so much time apart. I could see the guilt in his eyes, the fear that she'd never forgive him for what he'd done under Binju's magic. But her smile told him everything. She'd never stopped loving him, never stopped waiting. He took a step forward, and she ran to him, crashing into his arms like she'd never let go. For the first time in 64 years, they spoke, whispering love, forgiveness, all the time they'd lost. I felt the weight lift from Gui's shoulders, the guilt finally fading as she held him close. The supermoon watched over them as they talked through the night, making up for 6 decades of lost time. The supermoon blazes at its peak. This is my only chance to go back. Under the ancient oak, I can feel the portal's power thrumming in my bones. My palm presses against the oak's bark, and it lights up with a brilliant blue. Kyung's voice cuts through the night. He's come to stop me. His hand wraps around my arm, yanking me back before I can step through. I look into his eyes, my heart breaking, but I can't stay. I place my hand over his, my voice trembling as I speak the truth. I love you, Kyung. I always have. His eyes widen, tears welling up as he realizes what I mean. The portal roars louder, its pull growing stronger with every second. I take a step back toward the portal, my mind fixed on the world beyond. My foot crosses the threshold, and the magic begins to pull me fully in. Kyung sprints toward me, his voice screaming my name. His hand touches the portal's edge, and the magic yanks him in. I turn in the chaos, and my heart drops when I see him coming. We're both trapped in the portal's pull, worlds spinning around us. I reach for him, screaming over the portal's deafening roar. The portal closes behind us, leaving the park silent under the moon. The supermoon fades, as if it's erased all trace of us. On the other side, a strange new world waits, neither of us ready for what comes next. When I open my eyes, the world around me is nothing like I remember. Kyung's hand is still on my arm. He followed me across dimensions. The portal spun me around, and I had no idea where we'd end up. Kyung had followed me in, and now we were both lost in the chaos. Time and space twisted around us, and I thought we'd never escape. We fell and fell, with no end in sight. Then we hit the ground hard, and my head spun like crazy. The grass felt strange under my fingers, familiar, but different. I slowly lifted my head, and my breath caught in my throat. That palace, it was so much grander than I remembered. I struggled to my feet, still dizzy from the fall. Kyung stood beside me, his face just as shocked as mine. I couldn't believe it. This wasn't the Mirak I left behind. The trees were so tall. Decades must have passed. The whole kingdom was different, completely rebuilt. Even the flowers were new ones I'd never seen before. I walked forward slowly, my legs shaking with uncertainty. Kyung followed behind me, saying nothing he understood. People walked through the streets, living their lives in this new kingdom. The palace towers reached higher than ever, decorated with new carvings. I left this place in ruins. How could it change so much? Kyung looked at me, and I could see the worry in his eyes. Then I ran toward the palace, desperate to know. Kyung called after me, but I couldn't slow down. The palace gates were new, carved with symbols I didn't recognize. Then the gates began to open, like they knew I was there. I stood at the entrance, my heart pounding so hard it hurt. I stood before Mirak's grand palace, heart pounding with fear and desperate hope. Kyung gripped my hand tight as palace guards marched toward us, swords glinting in the sun. My breath caught as the guard's sword aimed at my chest, ready to strike. Then a voice cut through the chaos, deep, familiar, and full of raw yearning. I looked up, and my world stopped. It was Woon, older, but still, the man I loved. His hair was gray, his face lined with years, but his eyes still burned for me. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. All I could do was stare at him. Woon ran down the stairs, ignoring the guards' shouts, robes flowing behind him. His hand reached for me, calloused but gentle, like he was afraid I'd fade away. He pulled me into his arms, holding me so tight I could barely breathe, like I was his lifeline. I clung to him, tears soaking his robes, finally feeling like I was home again. Kyung stood back, watching us with a sad, gentle smile on his face. The palace staff and guards cheered, tears in their eyes, as we held each other tight. Woon whispered in my ear, his voice breaking with years of suppressed emotion. He said he'd waited every supermoon, never losing hope that I'd come back to him. I looked into his eyes, and I knew this was where I belonged. Right beside him, the scar on his cheek was still there, a reminder of the war we'd fought together. Moon took my hand, leading me into the palace like I was his rightful queen all along. Kyung followed behind us, ready to stand by me no matter which world I chose. My moon keychain glinted in the sun, a link between my two worlds, my two loves. The palace staff bowed as we walked through the halls, treating me like a long-lost royal. Moon squeezed my hand, a silent promise that he'd never let me go again. Standing there, surrounded by love, I knew I'd made the right choice to come back. Moon brought me to the royal garden, my heart racing with a mix of hope and fear. This place looked almost the same, but everything felt different after 64 years. He pulled out a leather journal, something he'd kept hidden for decades. His hands, once strong and steady, were now wrinkled and fragile. He sat and opened it, and I leaned in, my breath catching in my throat. The first page was a drawing of me, just like I looked all those years ago. His eyes told a story of 64 years of longing, of endless waiting, page after page, drawing after drawing, every version of me he'd ever known. Tears welled up in my eyes. How could he have loved me this deeply for so long? His fingers traced the lines of my face, like he was touching me through time. I reached out and held his hand, feeling every wrinkle that told his 64-year story. Our hands, separated by decades of time, fit together like we'd never been apart. In that moment, I knew I still loved him, but my heart also ached for Kyung back on Earth. I thought of Kyung, his warm smile, the life we'd built on my home planet. Moon looked at me, and I could see he understood the pain tearing me apart. I wanted to say so much, but no words could fix the choice I had to make. The sun set, painting the sky orange, but my heart felt darker than the coming night. I clutched my moon keychain, the link to both worlds, that now felt like a chain. Moon closed the journal like he was closing a chapter he'd been stuck in for 64 years. Tears streamed down my face, and I knew I had to choose, but how could I choose between two loves? The moon of Mirik shone bright, just like the one on Earth, but it offered no answers. While I struggled with my choice, Sierra finally found her long-awaited happiness. She stood on the cliff with him, watching the sun set, finally at true peace. Eros stood below, watching them, and I knew he was happy for her too. He'd always loved her, but he wanted her to be free above all else. That night, she sat with me and shared the story of her 64-year wait. 64 years of searching, waiting, hoping that he'd come back to her. Every empty night, every fruitless search, it all led to this moment. She said every second of that long wait was worth it, just to have him back. I could feel the weight of her years of longing in that gentle grip. Gui stood nearby, never taking his eyes off her, like he was scared she'd vanish again. For the first time in decades, she looked truly, fully alive again. He walked over, sitting beside her, and I could see the love in every small gesture. Their hands intertwined, like they never wanted to let go again. Eros turned and walked away, a small smile on his face, finally at peace too. In that moment, I realized love was worth waiting for, no matter how long it took. I thought of Woon, waiting for me across dimensions, and hoped our story would end this happily. She kept this tattered piece of his cloak, a reminder through all those years. Every time she touched it, she held on to the hope he'd come back. Now she didn't need it anymore. He was right here, beside her. As the moon rose, I knew my own wait would be worth it too, no matter how long. In the quiet palace room, I clutched the moon keychain that linked two worlds. Every twist of the metal felt like a tug between Kyung's smile and Woon's scar. The door creaked open. Kyung was here, but not to demand a choice. He walked slowly, like he was afraid to break the fragile silence. Our eyes met, and I knew this wouldn't be like our usual talks. He didn't say choose me. He just said he loved me, no strings attached. Tears burned my eyes. How could someone be so kind when my heart was split in two? I didn't know Woon was listening in the shadow, his heart aching just like mine. His knuckles whitened as he heard Kyung's words, but he didn't make a sound. Then he stepped into the room, silent, like he was carrying the weight of years. The room felt smaller with three of us, no words needed to speak the pain. The scar on his cheek glowed in the moonlight, a reminder of all we'd lost and found. He sat beside me, quiet, like he was afraid to break the fragile piece. Our hands were inches apart, but the space between felt like an ocean of time and worlds. Kyung stood back, his eyes soft. He knew I needed this moment, even if it hurt him. In that moment, I realized love didn't have to be a choice. Maybe it could be both. The moon keychain glowed, a quiet promise that neither world would be lost to me. Kyung turned to leave, giving us the space we needed, his love selfless to the end. Woon's eyes held all the years he'd waited, all the love he'd never stopped feeling. I leaned against him, and for a moment, the two worlds felt like one, just for us. His hand covered mine, a quiet anchor in the chaos of my split heart. Kyung didn't look back. He just let us have this moment, loving me enough to let me go. Just a little. I never expected to be celebrated like royalty in a world I barely remember. Woon threw a grand feast in my honor, and the entire kingdom turned out to cheer. Their cheers echoed through the halls, warm and genuine, making my heart ache. We walked through the crowd, accepting their gifts and grateful smiles. In that moment, I felt truly welcome here, like I belonged. Kyung stood quietly in the back, smiling, even though he knew my heart was split. Woon raised his glass, giving a speech about unity and hope for our future. I clutched my moon keychain, a reminder of the two worlds pulling at me. As the feast ended, Woon took my hand, leading me to a secret chamber. The air grew cold, and a faint blue glow seeped from behind the door. Inside, the walls were made of glowing crystals, pulsing with blue light. It was the same crystal chamber where our interdimensional journey began. Woon picked up a shard, and it lit up brighter in his hand. Then he showed me these shards could open the portal again. A tiny portal flickered to life, showing glimpses of my bedroom on Earth. I didn't have to choose between worlds. The portal could be opened multiple times. Tears filled my eyes. Hope I'd lost long ago was finally back. Woon squeezed my hand, promising we'd find a way to have both worlds. For the first time, I didn't feel torn. I felt like I could have everything. That night, I realized home wasn't just one place. It was the people I loved. My moon keychain glowed faintly, as if it too knew our future was bright. Woon's smile was softer than I'd ever seen it, full of love and relief. The crystals hummed around us, a song of two worlds finally connected. I could see my bedroom, my life on Earth, still waiting for me. As we left the chamber, I knew my life would never be limited to one world again. I never thought a shattered crystal would be my way back to him. The crystal chamber of Myrick hummed with magic that once tore us apart. A tiny portal flickered to life, small, but enough to bridge our worlds. I reached through, my fingers almost touching his across the glowing divide. We didn't need words. Our eyes told the story of years apart. His eyes held 64 years of waiting for me to return. I held up my moon keychain, our first promise, a symbol of both my lives. Woon spoke softly, his voice carrying through the portal to my ears. Every supermoon, he said, I'll be here, waiting for you. Tears spilled down my cheeks, happy tears, for the first time in so long. I stepped back, knowing this goodbye wasn't forever. My moon keychain swung with my steps, a reminder of the world I was leaving for now. The portal's light wrapped around me, pulling me back to the world I'd always known. When I opened my eyes, I was back in my bedroom on Earth. I sat up, my eyes immediately finding the moon in the night sky. My phone buzzed a message from Woon, sent across stars to my screen. My room felt familiar, but my heart was already halfway back to Mirek. Back on Mirek, Woon stood in the chamber, the crystal's light still warm in his palms. He didn't need to see me to know I'd be back. We were bound by more than magic. For so long, one moon, I thought I had and a love that would outweigh any. Maybe I didn't have to. Our symbols of hope, glowing in unison across the great divide. I woke up in my Earth bedroom, groggy, wondering if my other life was just a dream. But the familiar items around me told me this was real. I was home on Earth. Then my phone buzzed a message from across dimensions, sent straight from Woon. Just then, Kyung walked in with my favorite breakfast, acting like it was any other day. In that moment, it hit me. I didn't have to choose. I had love in both worlds. My fingers trembled as I unlocked the phone, eager to read Woon's message. His words made my heart ache with longing. Waiting for the next supermoon, he never gave up. A soft smile spread across my face, thinking of the man who waited for me across stars. Kyung watched me with a gentle smile, knowing exactly what I was thinking. My eyes fell on the moon keychain Kyung's gift, a link to both of my lives. I showed Kyung the message, and he squeezed my hand, happy for both of us. His touch grounded me, reminding me of the love I had right here, on Earth. Sunlight filled the room, turning an ordinary morning into something magical. In that moment, I knew my future wasn't limited. I had two worlds to explore. I swung my legs over the bed, eager to start this day full of endless possibilities. On my desk sat the telescope Kyung gave me a way to look at the moon and feel close to Woon. I looked at the moon through the lens, knowing Woon was looking at the same sky. For a second, I swore I could see Woon's face in the moonlight, waiting for me. Kyung handed me warm water, always taking care of me, no matter what worlds I traveled to. As I held the warm glass, I knew how lucky I was loved by two amazing people in two amazing worlds. We stood by the window, looking at the moon together, both of us knowing what was coming. My phone buzzed again, a photo of the moon from Woon, proof our bond was unbreakable. On Mirak, while I was on Earth, Woon clung to a single, unshakable hope. He sat in our favorite garden spot, flipping through the journal we'd shared for years. Every page was filled with drawings of me, my messy bangs, the way I laughed. A small Mirak child wandered over, clutching something hidden behind his back. He held out a tiny blue flower, a sacred symbol of hope on his planet. He tucked it behind his ear, a small, rare smile softening his worn face. Then Sierra and Gui appeared, walking hand in hand at last, finally at peace. Their hands were intertwined, the weight of years of guilt finally lifted from their shoulders. Woon watched them, and I could almost hear his thoughts hope for all of us. They paused beside him, sharing a quiet moment no words could fully capture. He opened the journal to a blank page, his hand hovering over the paper. His pen moved slowly, pouring every ounce of his longing into the words. He looked up at Mirak's moon, whispering my name like a prayer. As night fell on Mirak, he stayed there, watching the moon we'd once shared. In his eyes, I saw the same promise I carried in my heart we'd be together again. Sierra and Gui walked away, their love finally at peace after all those years. Alone but not broken, he waited for the supermoon that would bring me home. That journal was our bridge, connecting us across time and dimensions, even when we were apart. He pressed his hand to my name, as if he could feel me beside him through the pages. And I knew, no matter how long it took, we'd find our way back to each other across worlds, across time. That small blue flower became a symbol for hope, for love, for second chances. He closed the journal, holding it to his chest like it was a piece of me. A week later, Kyung took me to our favorite cafe, and I showed him everything about Mirak. He didn't flinch or call me crazy. He just smiled and asked questions. First, he asked about the food what we ate on Mirak, if it tasted like Earth food. I showed him photos of the glowing fruit we ate, sweet and crisp like starlight. He listened carefully, like every detail was the most interesting story he'd ever heard. Then he asked about the people, how we survived the war, how we rebuilt our kingdom. I told him about the survivors, how we came together like a real family after Binju was defeated. He didn't judge. He just said he was glad we'd found peace. I showed him Sierra and Gui, how they finally found each other after decades. Then he asked about the magic, how the crystals worked, how we used them to fight. I showed him the glowing crystals we used for healing, for opening portals, for protecting our people. I told him how the crystals were connected to the moon, how they let me come back to Earth. He asked if I missed Mirak, if I ever wanted to go back for good. I told him I did miss it, but I also loved my life here on Earth with him. He squeezed my hand and said he understood that he'd love me no matter what worlds I belonged to. Just then, my phone buzzed. Woon sent me photos of the kingdom's annual festival. Kyung laughed and said the festival looked like fun, like our school festivals, but with more magic. In that moment, I realized something important, something I'd been scared to admit. True friends don't make you choose between worlds. They love all parts of you, even the magical ones. I didn't have to pick Mirak or Earth. I could have both, and that was more than enough. My moon keychain glowed a little in the light, like it was happy for me too. Kyung told me he'd help me visit Mirak whenever the supermoon came. He said he'd wait for me no matter how long I stayed on Mirak. Just then, the device buzzed again. Woon sent me a video of the baby laughing. Kyung said she was cute, that I had to bring her to Earth someday. I stand on Mirak's cliff, staring at the moon that binds our worlds. In my hand, Dano's phone glows restored by Elmo's ancient magic. Her lock screen shows her with Kyung smiling, carefree on Earth. I open the leather journal, filled with every memory of her. The wind carries her name as I start to write what I've learned. Love isn't about possession. I've learned that over decades. I've waited so long, but her happiness matters more than my own. This scar reminds me of the war that almost took everything. I trace her face on the screen, knowing she's safe and loved. The kingdom thrives below, but my heart stays with her. In the moon, I see her smile bright, just like the day we met. I press her phone to my chest, sending my love across the stars. This journal holds every word I couldn't say when she was here. The wind picks up, carrying my words to her across dimensions. I stand at the edge of the world, watching over her always. Her phone glows like a star, a bridge between our two worlds. I drew her face so I'd never forget the way she laughed. I trace her smile, knowing she's living the life she deserves. I hold the journal to my heart, making a promise to the moon. My story continues, loving her from afar, forever and always. The moon will carry my love to her every single night. I tuck her phone away, knowing it's a piece of her I'll keep forever. I'm back at school, acting normal, but I'm hiding a huge, universe-spanning secret. My friends wave like nothing's changed, but they don't know I belong to two worlds now. Every laugh feels hollow, my mind's always stuck on that distant alien kingdom. Kyung holds my hand tight, trying to keep me grounded right here on Earth. School feels so tiny now, compared to the vast, magical world I left behind. We reach my locker. I take a deep breath. Proof of my other life is inside. It's Woon's drawing of Mirak. Proof that other world isn't just a crazy dream. He drew this for me, back when we thought we'd never see each other again. I trace the castle walls, like I can feel the wind from Mirak's planes through the paper. Kyung doesn't say a word. He just stands there, getting me without needing explanations. Tears well up. I miss Woon so bad, but I also love every part of this life here. I tuck the drawing back, realizing I don't have to choose just one home. This keychain isn't just a gift. It's my bridge between two entirely different worlds. Kyung squeezes my hand, and for the first time all day, I smile a real smile. From now on, I'll live in both worlds, loving everyone who holds a piece of my heart. No more hiding. I'm Undan. Oh, and I belong everywhere I'm loved. Kyung stays by my side, supporting me through every impossible universe-bending part of this. I keep little pieces of Mirak everywhere, even tucked in my school textbooks. When I look at the moon, I know Woon's staring at the exact same one, thousands of light years away. My life isn't split anymore. It's twice as big, twice as full, twice as magical. My phone has Woon's photo too, proof that impossible cross-dimensional love is real. When class ends, I laugh with my friends, fully present here, but always holding Woon close in my heart. This little keychain reminds me, I don't have to pick, I can have it all. We walk outside, and I stare up at the moon, my constant, glowing connection to Woon. My story doesn't have a single ending. It has two, both full of love, magic, and endless possibilities. Today, Woon sent me photos of a wedding I thought I'd never witness. Sierra and Gui stood at the altar, holding hands like they'd waited a lifetime for this. Woon was officiating, his face soft, with a smile I rarely saw. The crowd cheered, throwing flowers like the kingdom's grief was finally gone. I sat there, my heart aching and swelling all at once. Sierra looked radiant, like the years of waiting had melted away. Gui's eyes were soft, no longer filled with guilt, only love. The kingdom had come together, celebrating love after so much loss. Tears blurred my vision, but I was smiling so much, smiling. Kyung squeezed my hand. He knew exactly what this meant to me. Woon looked at them like he'd been waiting for this as long as they had. Flowers rained down on them, like the sky was celebrating too. Then they kissed soft, slow, like they were making up for lost time. I showed Kyung the photo, my voice shaking a little. He smiled, happy for them, happy for me. The whole kingdom was celebrating, and I could feel their joy through the screen. I traced Sierra's face on the screen, remembering how she'd searched for Gui for years. I looked out the window at the moon, thinking about all the waiting we'd done. The moon was bright, just like it was on Mirak that night. In that moment, I realized love is worth waiting for, no matter how long it takes. We're back at this oak tree, the place where it all started for me. Kyung's right here with me, but my heart's already reaching for the moon. I brought the telescope Kyung gave me. I need to see him. I adjust the lens, holding my breath. Will I really catch a glimpse of him? The moon's so bright tonight. It feels like it's calling me straight to Mirak. Wait, through the lens, I see him. His scar, his eyes, just like I remember. Kyung squeezes my hand. He knows. He can feel it too. Tears spill over. I thought I'd never see him again, even just like this. We sit here for hours, watching the moon hang low in the sky. Kyung's hand is warm in mine, but my mind's already making a promise. I whisper it to the wind. I'll never let either world down. Every supermoon, I'll cross the portal. I'll go to Mirak. I won't leave Woon waiting again, not after all this time. Kyung wipes my tears. He doesn't say a word. He just understands. The lake reflects the moon. It's like both worlds are right here with me. I know it's just a vision, but it's enough to hold me over. Kyung leans into me. For now, this is where I need to be. But not forever. This oak tree holds so many secrets. It's my bridge between two worlds. I pull out my phone, looking at his old photo. I won't break this promise. We walk away, but my eyes stay locked on the moon. The next supermoon can't come fast enough. Every step I take now is counting down to the next time I cross over. Kyung looks back at the oak. He knows my heart split between two worlds. This park isn't just a place. It's the thread that ties both my lives together. And I'll never let either thread fray. Not for anything. My phone buzzed with a message from Woon, something I never expected to see. A baby. Sierra and Gui's baby. Finally here after all these years. Her amber eyes, exactly like Sierra's, warm and bright, even in a photo. And her black hair with silver streaks, just like Gui's, a perfect mix of both worlds. My heart felt full, like a missing piece of my story had finally fallen into place. Woon was holding her too, sitting on the throne that had once felt so lonely. The kingdom was thriving, filled with laughter and joy I'd only dreamed of during the war. Sierra's smile was softer than I'd ever seen it, and Gui looked at her like she hung the stars. She wore a blue moon crystal, just like the one I'd carried with me for years. I held up my own moon keychain, feeling the connection between our worlds grow stronger. Tears blurred my vision. But they weren't tears of sadness, they were tears of hope. The kingdom wasn't just rebuilt, it was alive, full of the kind of peace we'd fought so hard for. Woon's scar was still there, but his eyes held none of the old pain, only love. I looked up at the moon, wondering if Woon was looking at the same one, holding our new little family member. In that moment, I realized something I'd never fully understood before. Family isn't just about blood, or the world you're born into. Family is about the people who love you, no matter where you are or how you're connected. I had two families now, one on Earth, one on Mirik, and both loved me completely. Back on Mirik, they were creating new memories, building the family they'd always wanted. I typed a message back, telling them how much I loved them, and how soon I'd be there. The message sent, and I knew our story was far from over. We had so much more to share. I could almost see Woon smile as he read my message, showing it to the baby like she'd understand. Her tiny hand touched the screen, like she was reaching out to me across the stars. I started packing my bag, already counting down the days until the next supermoon. This time, I wasn't just going back to visit, I was going home to my family. I've hidden this secret for so long now, I'm finally showing my parents the truth. They've always supported me, but will they think I'm crazy? My mom leans in, her eyes curious, but never judgmental. My dad leans forward, his face serious but open-minded. I hold my breath, waiting for their reaction, for the rejection I feared. My hands shake. What if they can't accept my other life? Then my mom smiles, her hand covering mine, no anger, no confusion. My dad nods, a warm smile spreading across his face. This is the world I found, where I found purpose and love. I tell them about the war, the recovery, the family I found there. My mom asks about the food, the people she's genuinely interested. My dad wants to know about the magic, the crystals he's fascinated, not scared. Laughter fills the room. They don't think I'm crazy. They're happy for me. Tears fill my eyes. I don't have to hide anymore. My mom pulls me into a hug, whispering how proud she is. My dad pats my shoulder, his voice warm. We love you no matter what. This keychain, it's a reminder of both worlds I belong to. The moon rises outside, and I know I have two homes, and both love me. I message Woon, telling him my family knows and loves him too. He writes back, full of warmth. I'm so lucky to have all of them. We sit together, looking at more photos. This is what family means to me. My secret is out, and I'm loved more than ever. I don't have to hide anymore. I never thought a glowing blue wall would bring us face to face again. Woon was there, holding the crystal shard that bridged our worlds. The crystal glowed brighter, and I held my breath. This was it. A portal flickered to life, swirling with the same blue light. And then I saw her, Dan. Oh, my girl from Earth, smiling right at me. Back on Earth, I sat in my bedroom, staring at the portal in my phone. His face was there, older but still the man I fell in love with. He told me about the baby Sierra and Gui's little girl, with amber eyes, like her mom. She wore a moon-shaped crystal pendant, just like the one I had. I touched my moon keychain, suddenly feeling closer to them all. Woon told me the kingdom was thriving, buildings rebuilt, people happy again. He showed me the palace, grander than ever, with banners flying in the wind. His hands were wrinkled, but when he reached out, I felt his touch like it was yesterday. I reached back, even though we were light years apart. For a second, I swear our fingers touched magic, pure and simple. He told me he missed me every single day, every supermoon, every night. I told him the same, that my heart was never fully on Earth without him. We looked up at the same moon, even though we were worlds apart. In his eyes, I saw the same love I'd felt all those years ago. The portal started to fade, but we didn't look away, not for a second. He mouthed, "I love you," and I mouthed it back, over and over. Tears streamed down my face, but I was smiling so happy. When the portal closed, I didn't feel alone anymore. I realized distance doesn't matter. When love is real, your heart is always with them. My moon keychain glowed faintly, like it was echoing the crystal's light. I was walking to class when a figure stopped me cold. Raven hair, a scar on his left cheek. He was a mirror of my wound. My heart skipped a beat, my breath catching in my throat. I moved closer, my legs moving on their own, desperate for it to be him. But when he turned, his smile was all wrong. This wasn't my wound. A wave of relief, mixed with sadness, crashed over me. Kyung noticed my reaction, his face soft with concern. He squeezed my hand, silently telling me he understood. I looked at him, my heart filling with warmth I almost forgot. The moon keychain Kyung gave me glinted my connection to both worlds. We walked to class together, the noise of the school fading into background. In that moment, I knew I was happy here on Earth. Kyung stayed beside me, his presence a steady comfort. I still loved Woon, but that didn't mean I couldn't love this life too. Woon would want me to be happy, wherever I was. That afternoon, we walked across the playground as the sun set. I didn't have to choose between them. I could love both in their own ways. Kyung held me close, and I felt the warmth of his love wrap around me. The sky turned pink and orange, a perfect end to a complicated day. As the moon rose, I smiled, my two worlds. Both loved, both mine. The new student laughed with his friends he was kind, but he wasn't my Woon. My heart finally slowed, the initial shock fading into acceptance. I was part of this world too, with people who cared about me. From where I watch, Woon's not just a king, he's a man finally finding peace. I never dared dream our story would bloom into something this warm, this full. Even with kingdom duties piling high, he never loses sight of what matters most. That tiny bundle? She's living proof love can bridge even the widest interstellar gaps. In that moment, I finally understood. Family isn't about distance, it's about love. That little moon crystal? It's a promise. We're all tied together, no matter where we are. Sierra's smile says it all. She finally has the quiet happiness she always deserved. Grease comes so far from the guilt-ridden wolf I once knew. He's finally home. Even the most loyal guards know when to step back and let love take center stage. Miric's gardens never looked more alive, more full of hope than in that golden hour. His hands once held swords and crowns. Now they hold something far more precious. They waited so long for this, for a love that healed all their wounds. That giggle? It could melt even the coldest of hearts, even across dimensions. I could almost hear him singing, even from millions of miles away. Love has a way of carrying sound. In that moment, I felt closer to them than I ever had before. Distance meant nothing. Woon still keeps that old journal, the one filled with drawings of me. Every night, he writes. Not about kings and wars, but about family, about me. His words are quiet, but they're full of a love that crosses time and space. She knows every word he writes, every thought, every memory of us. In that moment, I knew this is what family is, love that no distance can break. And then I saw it, the words he'd written, just for me, just for us. He was looking at me, even across the universe. I could feel it in my bones. I never thought I'd be the one to make a king cry. But love has a way of doing that. Even in quiet moments, they look out for each other. That's what family does. As the moon rose over Mirak, I knew our story was just getting started. Kyung and I snuck to the park after dark, the oak tree glowing faintly above us. We didn't need words. We both knew what was on my mind. I pulled out the device Elmo had given Woon, our only link between worlds. I typed a simple message. I miss you more than words can say. Seconds felt like hours as I waited for a reply from Mirak. Then it buzzed loud enough to make my heart skip a beat. My hands shook as I unlocked it, praying it was from him. It was a photo of the baby, grinning up at the camera from Woon's lap. Tears burned my eyes, but I couldn't stop smiling. She was perfect. I showed Kyung, and he chuckled, saying she had Sierra's amber eyes. He squeezed my hand, his touch warm and steady as always. The moon hung bright above us, connecting my two worlds in that moment. For a second, I forgot the distance felt like we were all together. Below the photo, Woon's message glowed. We love you. Come back soon. I buried my face in Kyung's chest, overwhelmed by all the love around me. The moon keychain glinted on my backpack, my first link to this double life. I pulled out the telescope Kyung gave me, scanning the moon for any sign of Mirak. In that moment, I knew I didn't have to choose. I could have both worlds. We walked home hand in hand, neither of us needing to speak. My phone went dark, but the image of that baby stayed burned in my mind. For the first time in forever, I felt truly, completely happy. The oak tree glowed brighter, as if it could feel the magic connecting our worlds. Just when I thought days were ordinary, Woon sent me something that shook me to my core. This was Mirac's annual festival, glowing with endless blue lights that lit up the kingdom. The whole kingdom cheered, their joy so vivid, it felt like I was right there with them. There stood Woon, on the palace balcony, every bit the wise king I'd left behind. Sierra and Gui joined him, holding their little one proof that peace had finally come to Mirac. The baby clapped her tiny hands, laughing like she knew I was watching from far away. Every street was strung with blue lanterns, turning the dark into a sea of starlight. People waved at the camera, their hands full of blue crafts, sending joy across dimensions. Woon caught the camera's gaze, his smile soft, like he was speaking directly to me. As they stood together, the kingdom roared, and for a second, I forgot the distance between us. A tear hit my screen before I knew it. Grief and joy tangled tight in my chest. Kyung was there, handing me a tissue, never questioning, just understanding deeply. I showed him every photo, eager to share this secret, precious part of my life. He smiled, happy for me, even though he knew my heart was split between two worlds. In that moment, I realized I didn't have to choose. Both worlds loved me, and I loved them back. Woon had aged, but that scar, his eyes, they were still exactly the same as I remembered. Sierra's sharp eyes had softened, filled with the happiness she'd waited decades to find. Gui, once broken by guilt, now looked at his family with nothing but pure, gentle love. The baby wore a blue moon crystal, just like the ones we used to cross between worlds. My moon keychain glinted in the moonlight, a silent promise we were never truly apart. I looked up at the moon, knowing Woon was watching the same one, light years away. I'd covered my wall with Mirac's photos, keeping a little piece of that world with me always. I traced Woon's face in the photo, longing mixing with the joy I felt for them. Kyung sat quietly beside me, never resenting the space Mirac took in my heart. In that quiet room, I felt complete, loved by two worlds, with two places to call home. School festival's here, but my mind's split between two worlds. Kyung's right here with me, but my heart's still on Mirac. Our friends have no clue about my secret double life. Then my phone buzzed something I never saw coming. It was Woon, sending a video of Mirac's own festival. The kingdom was alive with music and laughter, just like here. I couldn't believe he sent this. He knew I'd miss it. My friends noticed and crowded over, curious what had me smiling. Their jaws dropped when they saw Woon and the alien kingdom. I told them everything about Mirac, about Woon, about the portals. Kyung just stood there, smiling. He already knew everything. I thought they'd think I was crazy, but they didn't. Instead, they hugged me, happy I finally shared my truth. Right then, a message popped up. "We miss you. Come back soon." In that moment, I realized I didn't have to choose. I could have both worlds. For the first time in so long, I felt truly whole. Kyung squeezed my hand. He knew this meant everything to me. This little keychain wasn't just a gift, it was my connection. We watched the rest of the video together, laughing at the baby's silly faces. As the fireworks went off, I knew this was where I belonged with both worlds I love. Woon just sent me a video. Mirac's annual festival is in full swing. Look at him dancing with our little one, like he's the happiest man alive. Sierra and Gui are finally happy after everything they've been through. The whole kingdom's celebrating they've earned this peace so much. I can't stop smiling. Every frame feels like a warm hug from them. Our baby's laughing so hard she has Sierra's amber eyes, I swear. Woon looks older, but his smile's still the same one I fell in love with. Sierra's spinning like she's a young princess again, freed from all the pain. Gui's finally letting himself be happy. He deserves this second chance. The whole kingdom's united. This is the future we fought so hard for. I'm crying and smiling at the same time. This is all I've ever wanted for them. I look up at the moon next supermoon. I'll be there with them. The supermoon will rise again soon, counting down the days already. He sent a text right after the video. "We're waiting for you. Come soon." I can almost feel his warmth through the screen. Just a little longer. I'll keep watching the moon until the day I can cross the portal again. Even Eros is smiling. He's always been the quiet protector of his family. The blue lights look just like the portal, reminding me of how we met. I grabbed the telescope Kyung gave me, trying to catch a glimpse of him watching back. Through the lens, the moon feels so close, like I could reach out and touch it. Tonight, I'll dream of Mirac, of dancing with them under the supermoon. Woon holds our baby so gently, like she's the most precious thing in the world. Gui's playing with her tiny hand. He's such a soft soul under that tough exterior. The music sounds so familiar. We danced to this melody before the war. That moon-shaped bowl, Mom uses it every morning, always making me smile. I was buried under exam textbooks when my alien prince boyfriend video called me from his kingdom. He was ruling an alien kingdom, but he still made time to check in while I studied. He's negotiating with alien leaders and still making time to be with me. Kyung was right there, breaking down algebra like it was no big deal. I spent months thinking I had to choose between two worlds, but maybe I don't have to. He's running an entire alien kingdom while being part of my life here. I smiled at the screen, realizing this impossible balance could actually work. Kyung didn't mind sharing my attention. He just kept helping me study. He'd glance up at the screen between signing alien royal documents. I scribbled notes faster than ever, feeling more focused with both of them here. Every time he smiled, the exam stress melted away a little bit. Kyung laughed when he caught me zoning out staring at Woon. He held a crystal shard, the same kind that opened the portal to Earth. My moon keychain glinted in the light, a reminder of both worlds I love. For the first time, I didn't feel torn. I felt lucky to have both of them. Woon finished his royal work and gave me his full attention at last. We talked about silly things, like how alien coffee tastes compared to Earth's. Kyung just read his book, letting us have our moment together. He showed me the view of his kingdom from the window, so alien, yet so familiar. I realized I didn't have to choose one world over the other. I could have both, perfectly balanced. His kingdom, my life on Earth, both felt like home now. I touched the screen, like I could reach through and touch him. He did the same, like he could feel me reaching for him across dimensions. Kyung winked like he knew exactly what I was thinking, that I didn't have to choose anymore. This was the balance I'd been searching for: two worlds, two loves, all mine. Back on Mirak, Woon was meeting with leaders from every corner of our world. Trade routes, magic laws, peace treaties, we had so much to discuss. Sierra sat beside him, taking notes like she always did. Calm, steady, reliable. And Gui stood guard in the shadows, always ready to protect his family. The room hummed with tension, but also with hope. Hope for a future without war. Woon spoke first, his voice firm but warm, laying out our vision for unity. One leader pushed back, worried about losing their kingdom's unique magic traditions. Sierra didn't miss a word, scrolling through ancient scrolls to find precedents. Gui's eyes scanned the room, always alert, even in moments of calm discussion. Woon stood up, his presence filling the room, and proposed a compromise that satisfied everyone. Slowly, one by one, the leaders nodded. They saw the vision, the hope, the future we could build. Sierra let out a small smile, relief washing over her. She knew this was a historic moment. Even Gui allowed a small smile. He hadn't seen this much hope in our world in decades. Woon shook each leader's hand, sealing our new alliance with honor and respect. The tension melted away, replaced by laughter and the sound of plans being made for a brighter future. When the meeting ended, Woon pulled out the device Elmo had given him, the one that could reach across dimensions. He sat down, his fingers hovering over the screen, trying to find the right words to say to me. He typed slowly, carefully, pouring all his love into every single word. When he hit send, he looked up at the moon, our moon, and smiled, knowing I'd feel his love across the stars. Back on Earth, my phone buzzed in my pocket, and I knew his love had found me, just like it always did. I was walking down my school hallway when I felt my phone buzzing. A message from him. I pulled it out, my hands slightly shaking, wondering what he would say this time. When I read his words, my heart felt full. He was building our future, one peace treaty at a time. Kyung walked over, noticing my smile, and he knew my heart was with Woon, even when I was here. He held my hand, not with jealousy, but with understanding. He loved me, and he wanted me to be happy, no matter what. I looked at the message again, memorizing every word, knowing that our love could cross any distance. Back on Mirak, Woon stood on the palace balcony, looking at the same moon, feeling my love right beside him. The moon hung bright in both our skies, a silent promise that we would be together, no matter what. Sierra and Gui walked through the royal garden, their love as strong as ever, proof that peace could heal even the deepest wounds. And across Mirak, lights flickered on in homes, in streets, in hearts. Hope was alive, and it was all because of him. Because of us. I just aced my exams after weeks of stress. It finally paid off. I ran straight to the park to tell Kyung, my biggest supporter back on Earth. His face lit up instantly, like he was the one who just passed a huge test. He pulled me into a tight hug, and for a second, I forgot all about Mirak. But just then, my phone buzzed, reminding me I had another world waiting for me. It was Woon from Mirak, thousands of light years away. I answered immediately, my heart racing a little. On the screen, Woon held our little princess. She was clapping her tiny hands. She looked just like Sierra, with those same amber eyes. Woon spoke in Mirak's language, words of pride and joy I'd learned to understand. Kyung leaned in, watching with me, no jealousy, just pure happiness. In that moment, I realized how lucky I was. 2 worlds, 2 loves, and both were cheering for me. I used to think I had to choose, but now I know I can have it all. This little keychain, my link between 2 worlds, 2 lives. Kyung squeezed my hand like he knew exactly what I was thinking. Stress, exams, interdimensional love, none of it mattered as long as I had this. Woon sent more photos later, our princess, growing up so fast. Even Kyung thought she was adorable. He said, we should visit soon. As the moon rose, I knew, no matter how far apart, love always finds a way. I'm Woon, king of Mirak, and every night I write to the girl I can't forget. My palace is grand, but it feels empty without her smile beside me. I draw her every night, now with a tiny hand in hers I've never met. This photo is all I have of the day she left, a piece of my heart stuck on earth. Night after night, I wait for the supermoon that might bring her back. My eyes grow heavy, but my mind won't stop replaying her laugh. I lie down, hoping tonight's dream will feel more like reality. Half a universe away, I drift off, my heart still tied to the moon. This keychain glows when I think of him, a quiet bridge between our worlds. The moon shines through my window, and I feel a pull I can't explain. In my dream, we're together again. No distance between our hearts. We stand where we first promised forever, watching our kingdom thrive below. I touch her face, afraid she'll vanish if I look away for 1 second. We talk of the future we could have, a life we were meant to share. But the dream starts to fade, and I know I'll wake up alone again. I wake up with tears on my cheeks, the ghost of her touch still on my skin. I look at the moon, wondering if she's staring at the same one right now. I wake up breathless, like I've just said goodbye all over again. I grab my phone, hoping for a sign he's thinking of me too. No message comes, but I know the supermoon will bring us together soon. I write about how much I miss her, words that can never reach her side. I hold her photo close, letting it be my anchor through the lonely night. The supermoon's in a week. I'm finally going back to Mirak. Kyung's right here, helping me pack everything I might need. This keychain, it's the bridge between my 2 worlds. He never complains, never asks when I'll return. He just helps. Packing for Mirak isn't just clothes, it's packing pieces of my heart. This tattered cloak, it's proof I wasn't just dreaming of Mirak. Then my mom walked in, with Korean snacks for Woon and Sierra. She remembered their favorite tteokbokki snacks. I almost cried. She didn't question it. She just wanted me to share our home with them. Dad came in too, quiet like always, but his smile said everything. He squeezed my shoulder, and I knew he was proud of me. I hugged Mom tight, feeling love from both of my worlds right now. For so long, I thought I had to choose. But now, I don't. I pulled out my phone, looking at Woon's face. I missed him so bad. I had to keep him close, just like I keep Kyung close too. The backpack's packed. Now I just wait for the moon. This moon bowl, it's a reminder of all I have here. Kyung handed me hot chocolate, his eyes soft with understanding. He doesn't want to hold me back. He wants me to be happy. Having 2 worlds isn't a curse. It's a gift, 2 homes to return to. The portal blazed to life, and I stepped through back to the world I'd spent years longing for. There they were, Woon, Sierra, Gui, and the baby, waiting for me under Mirak's sun. Woon's eyes locked on mine, and I saw every year of longing in his gaze. He didn't hesitate. He ran, his royal robes billowing like he'd been waiting for this moment forever. His arms wrapped around me, and for the first time in so long, I felt truly home. Tears burned my eyes. This wasn't a dream. I was really here with him. Sierra and Gui stood nearby, smiling, the baby gurgling in his arms, happy we were together. The crowd roared with joy, their cheers echoing through the palace gates. In that moment, every second apart melted away. We were finally together again. The baby reached for my finger, tiny and warm, a new piece of this beautiful family. Sierra pulled me into a hug, her voice soft with relief. We never stopped waiting for you. Gui nodded, his eyes crinkling at the corners. No more guilt, just peace and joy. Woon laced his fingers through mine, leading me into the palace we'd once fought so hard to protect. My moon keychain glinted in the sun, a reminder of the 2 worlds I now called home. The palace halls were alive with celebration. Every soul here was happy we were reunited. Woon never let go of my hand, like he was afraid I'd vanish again if he did. We walked to the royal garden, the same place we'd spent so many afternoons before the war began. His hands were lined with years, but his touch was still the same warm, familiar, safe. The flowers were in full bloom, just like our hope, bright, vibrant, impossible to dim. In that garden, with the people I loved most, I knew I'd found my forever happiness. Woon led me to the royal garden, my heart racing with what I might find there. The air smelled of alien blooms, every corner feeling both foreign and strangely familiar. Then I saw her, their tiny baby, wrapped in a shimmering blue blanket. My hand trembled as I reached out, afraid I might startle this little miracle. Woon watched silently, his eyes soft, with a love I'd waited decades to see. And then she grabbed my fingers small, warm, and suddenly I was completely hooked. I held her close, her tiny smile melting away all my doubts and fears. Woon's hand found mine, his touch steady and sure after all this time. When our fingers laced together, I knew this was where I belonged. The sun set over Mirak's mountains, and for the first time, I felt truly home. Her amber eyes matched Sierra's, a reminder of the family I'd gained here. The alien flowers glowed softly around us, as if celebrating this quiet moment. Tears slipped down my cheek, not of sadness, but of overwhelming joy. Woon wiped my tears away, his thumb gentle against my skin. Together we watched our baby coo and giggle, a perfect miracle between us. Her moon-shaped crystal pendant glowed, a link between our two worlds. As the moon rose over Mirak, I knew no distance could ever separate us again. Our hands rested on her tiny body, a promise of forever across dimensions. I leaned against Woon's shoulder, finally at peace after all these years. In that moment, I had everything I'd ever wanted. 2 worlds, 1 perfect family. My moon keychain glowed in the moonlight, a reminder of where I'd come from. The garden's fountains sparkled with bioluminescent water, adding magic to our perfect night. I never thought I'd be changing an alien baby's diaper on Mirak. This is wild new territory for me. Sierra's been helping me through every step. She's so calm, nothing like the fierce warrior I first met. Even Gui's here, quiet, but so gentle. Who knew he'd have such a soft side? Now it's feeding time, Bray. I don't spill this alien baby formula everywhere. I didn't hear the door open. Woon's been watching us quietly this whole time. That smile, that scar, he's still the man I fell for, just softer with age. We're all laughing now, like we've been doing this cozy routine forever. The baby's laughing so hard she's got Sierra's amber eyes. It's absolutely adorable. Woon's joining us now, and suddenly, this space feels like something real, like home. I look at him, and I know this is where I belong. At least, part of me is. Who would have thought an alien royal family would feel like my own? His hands are aged, rough from ruling, but they feel so familiar, so right. Sierra and Gui look so happy together. They deserve this, after all the pain they've been through. Gui's smile is so soft now, nothing like the fierce, guilt-ridden warrior I first knew. I pick up the baby, carrying her to the window to show her the Mirak landscape. The Mirak landscape is stunning, rolling green hills, crystals glowing in the distance. She's staring wide-eyed at the scenery like she knows how special this world is. Woon joins me, and we stand in silence, just soaking in this perfect moment. In this moment, it hits me. Family isn't about blood, it's about who loves you fully. This is my family now on 2 worlds, with people who love me for exactly who I am. Walking hand in hand with Woon through Mirak's streets, every step felt like a dream come true. This place, once in ruins, now bloomed with life, all because we refused to give up. The people cheered and waved, their smiles brighter than any magic crystal here. With each step, I could feel their love wrapping around me like a warm cloak. I'd never felt so seen, so loved, like I truly belonged here, right by his side. Tears pricked my eyes. This wasn't just a kingdom, it was a family. A small figure broke through the crowd, clutching something bright and colorful. It was a flower, grown from the soil we'd fought so hard to protect. He held it out to me, his eyes wide with pure, unshakable trust. When my fingers touched the flower, I knew this was what we'd fought for these small, precious moments. The flower felt warm in my hand, a symbol of everything we'd rebuilt together. The crowd erupted in cheers, their joy echoing through every corner of the kingdom. Woon's eyes locked on mine, and I could see all the love and longing he'd held for years. We kept walking, his hand on my back, like he was scared I'd disappear again. Ahead, the palace stood tall again, proof that even the darkest ruins could bloom anew. I smiled, feeling lighter than I had in years, like a weight I'd carried forever was gone. Every house, every window, told a story of survival, of hope, of never giving up. A sign held high read, "Welcome home" in Mirak's language, and my heart felt full to bursting. I waved back, letting them know how much their love meant to me, how much they all meant. As we reached the end of the street, I realized this was more than a home. It was a love that spanned worlds. My moon keychain glinted beside the flower, a reminder of both worlds I now called home. The little boy wrapped his arms around my leg, and I knew I'd never leave this place behind again, not truly. I never thought a cliffside would feel like the most magical place across two worlds. Look down, our kingdom glows like a sea of stars, waiting for us to return. His calloused hands wrapped around mine, steady as the stars above our heads. When he turned to me, I saw every year of waiting in his warm eyes. Here, time doesn't exist, only us, and the love binding our two worlds together. He leaned in, his scar catching the moonlight, and whispered 3 little words. I kissed him back, and in that moment, all the distance melted away. I traced his scar, a map of all the years he'd loved and waited. I rested my head on his chest, listening to the heartbeat I'd missed for so long. I told him I loved him across time, across worlds, now and forever. He said he'd love me forever, and I could see every word was true. We stood there, watching our kingdom, knowing we'd never be apart again. Looking up at the same stars that watched me on Earth, I knew we were home. Our hands stayed locked, a promise that no dimension could break. He pointed to a star, saying it would guide me back if I ever felt lost. In this moment, time and distance meant nothing, only us. I smiled through tears, knowing our story was just beginning. We held each other tight, letting the night wrap around us like a promise. He touched my moon keychain, a symbol of our two-world love. As the stars shone down, I knew our love would cross time and forever. No distance, no time could ever break the bond we share. Our kingdom waits, but our love is the only home we need. A month passed in the blink of an eye, and it's time for me to go back to Earth. I packed my bag slowly, every item a memory from this alien world. Then Sierra appeared, holding a tiny crystal pendant just for me. It was a gift from her baby, a piece of mirak to carry back home. Just then, Woon stepped in, his warm hand wrapping tightly around mine. His eyes held so much longing, like he didn't want to let me out of his sight. We stood in silence for a long time, words unneeded between us. Then he nodded silently, gesturing for me to follow him somewhere secret. We walked through the palace halls, servants bowing as we passed by. Every step felt heavy, like I was leaving a piece of my heart behind. He led me to a hidden door, revealing the glowing crystal chamber beyond. Inside, the walls glowed with soft blue light. This was where the magic began. Crystal shards littered the floor, pulsing with the magic that brought me here. Woon walked to the center, turning to face me with a serious look. He raised his hand, and the crystals began to swirl, forming a portal shape. The portal started to glow, the familiar light that would take me home to Earth. But before I could step in, Woon stopped me, his voice soft and urgent. He said he had something important to tell me, something I couldn't miss. The portal hummed behind us, ready to open, but I stayed to listen. I could feel the magic in the air, and I knew this would change everything. He fumbled with something behind his back, his cheeks slightly pink. Inside was a crystal ring, carved with a moon just like my keychain. My breath caught in my throat. I never expected this from him. He took my hand, his fingers trembling a little as he held the ring. When it touched my finger, it glowed blue, matching the chamber's soft light. I stood in Mirik's glowing crystal chamber, breath catching at what Woon held out. A crystal ring etched with a moon, his vow, that crossed space and time itself. My throat tightened after all we'd been through. He was giving me forever. My fingers trembled as I took it. This wasn't just jewelry, it was forever. As I slipped it on, the ring blazed blue, matching the chamber's glow. It hummed against my skin, a link between me and Mirak, between me and him. Woon's voice was soft, saying he'd wait for every supermoon, every chance to see me. We held each other, knowing this goodbye wasn't forever. Just until next time. The portal shimmered to life behind us, the path back to Earth glowing bright. I looked back at Woon, his figure clear as I stepped toward the light. The light wrapped around me, pulling me back to Earth, but my heart stayed with him. As the portal closed, I knew he'd be waiting, watching the moon for my return. I stumbled back into Earth's familiar air, the ring still warm on my finger. The moon hung bright in Earth's sky, same moon, different world, but same love. I was back on Earth, but a piece of my heart would always stay in Mirak. The ring glowed faintly in the moonlight, proof our love wasn't bound by worlds. I smiled, knowing I'd cross that portal again, for him, for us, for our interdimensional love. I walked away, already counting down the days until the next supermoon. The moon watched over both worlds, a silent promise of what was to come. Back in my room, I held the ring close. Mirak wasn't just a place. It was home. I sat at my desk, surrounded by stars, proof I belonged to two worlds, two loves. I pulled out my repaired phone, staring at his face, knowing he was looking at the same moon. A tear fell on the screen, grief and joy tangled, both at home and away. The moon through my window was a bridge, not a barrier one. I'd cross again and again. I pressed the ring to my chest. Part of me was always with him, on Mirak's shores. I'm back on Earth, but a piece of Mirak stays with me right on my finger. My parents had no clue the gifts inside were from an alien kingdom. This little trinket? It's from a world 64 years away in time. Dad stared like he couldn't believe such magic existed right here. In that warm room, I knew two worlds could fit in my life. The carvings tell stories of Mirak rebuilding, of hope after war. Kyung walked in, his eyes locking right on my glowing ring. He didn't need to ask. He knew exactly what it meant to me. I showed him how it glows blue when I think of Woon across dimensions. In that moment, everyone got it. My heart belongs to two places. Kyung squeezed my hand, and I knew he'd always be by my side. Mom packed Korean snacks for Woon and Sierra Earth's gift to Mirak. Dad just said, "We're happy you found where you belong. This crystal. It's my ticket back to Mirak whenever I want. The moon shines the same here and on Mirak, my two homes." I used to think I had to choose, but love doesn't work that way at all. Kyung held me close, and I felt Woon's love across every dimension. I'm the luckiest girl in two worlds, loved by everyone I care about. Love isn't about choosing, it's about embracing every part of who you are. The next supermoon is coming, and I'll cross the portal again for both my worlds. Tonight, Kyung and I returned to the park that changed my life forever. We snuck out after dinner, just like we did before I ever knew Mirak existed. I'd carried Woon's crystal ring all day, too nervous to let anyone see it. Kyung noticed my nerves, but he never pushed. He just waited, patient as always. This place once felt like a prison of secrets, but now it felt like a bridge between my two lives. I pulled out the crystal ring Woon carved for me, its moon pattern glowing faintly in the dark. Woon made this in Mirak's crystal chamber, pouring his love into every tiny carve. The second I thought of Woon, his scar, his smile, his quiet strength, the ring began to glow. Kyung's eyes widened, but he didn't look shocked. He looked genuinely happy for me. It was like Woon was right there with us, his love stretching across dimensions to reach me. He didn't make me choose between worlds. He just said, "It's perfect." In that moment, I realized how lucky I was to have someone so understanding. I loved Kyung, his warmth, his calm, how he made Earth feel like home. But I loved Woon too, his fire, his strength, how Mirak felt like my destiny. For so long, I thought I had to pick one. But maybe I didn't have to choose at all. Kyung wrapped his arm around me, and for the first time, I didn't feel torn between two lives. This oak tree was my first portal. Now it felt like a witness to my whole story. I had two worlds, two loves, two futures, and that was more than enough for me. I used to think love was about choosing, but now I know it's about embracing all parts of yourself. The ring's glow dimmed, but I knew Woon was still there, always watching, always loving. Kyung kissed my forehead, and I knew he'd love me no matter where my heart took me. As we walked home, I didn't feel guilty anymore. I felt grateful for every moment. I was the luckiest girl in the entire universe, and I didn't need anyone to tell me that. I had two homes, two loves, and a future full of magic waiting for me. And I knew the supermoon would rise again, taking me back to the love I left behind. Even from Earth, I can feel the warmth of their little family on Mirak. King Woon holds the baby close, while Sierra and Gui stand by his side. Eros watches from the shadows, silent and loyal as always. Woon pulls out the interdimensional communicator, his fingers gentle with the device. The throne room feels so warm, like a home I can almost touch. He types slowly, every word filled with longing for me. Sierra's soft smile says it all. They're happy, but they miss me too. The baby's moon crystal glows softly, a link between our worlds. Gui's gaze softens as he looks at the baby, his past guilt far behind. The palace ceiling seemed to reach for the stars, just like our hopes. He hits send, and I know the message is on its way to Earth. Back on Earth, I clutch my moon keychain, feeling their love through it. I stare at the moon, knowing he's looking at the same one. My phone buzzes. His message has finally arrived. "We love you. Come back soon." Those words make my heart ache. Every word feels like a hug across the dimensions. I keep his drawing on my desk, a constant reminder. Tears well up. I miss them more than words can say. I sit there, rereading the message over and over again. The moon's light wraps around me like a bridge to Mirak. My heart will always be split between two worlds, Earth and Mirak. I used this to watch the moon, wondering if he was watching too. Our crystal ring glows, proof our love knows no distance. I know, I'll go back soon. This isn't goodbye, just see you later. Two worlds, one love, this is my story, and it's far from over. Today's the day I finally graduate high school. It feels surreal standing up here. The entire campus is buzzing with excitement as we celebrate our big day. This diploma in my hand represents years of hard work and late nights. Kyung's right beside me, his warm hand in mine, steady and supportive as always. I can see my parents in the crowd, cheering so loud they're practically shouting. Their faces are beaming with pride, and my heart feels full beyond words. Kyung squeezes my hand, and I know he's just as happy for me as I am. Just then, my phone buzzes in my pocket. Something unexpected is coming. I pull out my phone, wondering who could be messaging me right now. It's a video from Woon, sent all the way from Mirak. I can't believe he remembered. Woon's face appears on the screen, looking warm and proud. The video cuts to Mirak's citizens, all holding signs cheering for me. Even the kids made little signs, their drawings of the moon making me smile. Woon stands at the front, waving, with Sierra and Gui right beside him. Tears well up in my eyes. I never thought so many people would care about me. In that moment, I realize how truly loved I am by everyone. I look up at the sky, thinking of both Earth and Mirak, both my worlds. The other graduates throw their caps into the air, celebrating our new beginnings. Kyung and I join in, tossing our caps up with everyone else. I know this is just the start. I have two worlds to love and two families to cherish. The moon keychain on my backpack glints in the sun, a reminder of all I hold dear. Kyung and I walk hand in hand towards my parents, ready to celebrate together. I never thought the supermoon would finally stitch my two worlds back together. Under this oak tree, my life split in two. And now, it's coming home. Kyung's hand in mine grounds me, but my heart's already halfway to Mirak. The tree glows blue. After all this waiting, the portal is finally waking up. It's happening! This is the moment I've been counting down to. I can see him, Woon. After 64 years, he's still waiting for me. All this time, I thought I had to choose. But I don't. Do I? My eyes hold two worlds, two loves. And I don't have to let either go. The portal is full now, glowing like a promise between worlds. I take a step forward, towards him, towards the life I left behind. Kyung's eyes tell me he understands. He knows I need this. He lets go, but he doesn't say goodbye because I don't have to choose. One foot in, and I can already feel Mirak's air. It's magic around me. I'm through, and for the first time, I don't feel torn anymore. The light wraps around me, carrying me home, both homes. Kyung stays, but I know we'll see each other again. This isn't the end. Woon's hand is reaching for mine after all these years. We're almost together. I hold his hand, and I know this is where I was always meant to be too. I'm here, on Mirak, with him, but I know I can go back, anytime. I don't have to choose one life over the other. I can have both, and that's enough. This little keychain was always a sign I belonged to both worlds all along. My story isn't about choosing. It's about loving both worlds, both lives, fully. The moons shine bright, both here and on Earth. They're both my guide. I have two homes, two loves, and a future full of magic. This is my happy ending. And so, I walk forward toward him, toward both of my worlds, toward everything I love. After years of waiting, I was finally building a future with the man I loved across two worlds. We weren't just planning a life, we were bridging two entire dimensions with our love. Half the year on Mirak, half on Earth. It sounded crazy, but it felt so right. We'd have two weddings, one in each world, a celebration that belonged to both of us. Even our family stood with us, ready to embrace this impossible future. Our children wouldn't be bound by worlds, they'd travel between them like it was nothing. Woon's throne wouldn't keep us apart. It would be part of our shared story. Love didn't mean choosing one world over the other. It meant embracing both. Even the most loyal guards stood with us, ready for this crazy journey. Our home on Mirak wasn't a separate world, it was an extension of the love we shared. Our love didn't just cross dimensions, it broke all the rules that tried to keep us apart. Our future wasn't written in stars or stone, it was woven from magic and love. On Mirak, we'd marry under the stars that first brought us together. On Earth, we'd celebrate with my family and friends, bridging our two lives completely. Two weddings, two homes, one love. a story no one had ever told before. Woon's diary, once filled with longing, now held pages of hope and future dreams. Our happiness even brought our families closer, healing old wounds with new hope. This tiny keychain wasn't just a gift, it was the thread that tied my two worlds together. Love doesn't care about worlds or dimensions, it just finds its way home. Our future wasn't impossible, it was just waiting for us to dare to believe in it. In that moment, I knew love could cross any barrier, no matter how big. We weren't just defying rules, we were creating a new kind of love, one that belonged to everyone. Even the smallest lives would benefit from the love that bridged our worlds. Our children would grow up knowing that love has no boundaries, only possibilities. And so my story continues across two worlds, with two loves and a future full of magic. Standing on this cliff, I hold the love of two worlds in my hands. Looking at the kingdom below, I realize I have two homes now. I'm the luckiest person alive, loved deeply in both worlds. In Mirak, I have a king who waited 64 years for me. On Earth, I have a boy who stood by me through everything. Woon's love survived 64 years of waiting, never fading. Kyung's love was my anchor during my chaotic high school days. This keychain connects me to both worlds, a symbol of my double life. I once thought I had to choose between my two worlds, but I was wrong. I don't have to pick just one. For the first time, I feel complete, like I belong everywhere. The people of Mirak welcomed me as one of their own. Woon waited 64 long years, never giving up hope I'd return. My heart doesn't belong to just one world. It belongs to both. The stars above have witnessed my love across dimensions. The moon above has been my guide between the two worlds. I made a promise to myself that night, a promise of forever. This ring is a vow my love will cross time and dimensions. I will love them both, across every year, across every world. My love isn't bound by time or space, it's eternal. I finally understand, home isn't a place, it's the people you love. Both of my worlds are home. Both hold pieces of my heart. I will cross the portal again and again, never leaving either behind. You think the story ends here? My story's just beginning across two worlds. On Earth, I have Kyung, my first love, my anchor in chaos. On Mirak, I have Woon, the love that crossed dimensions, waited 64 years for me. I used to think I had to choose one world, one love, one life. But what if the universe didn't want me to choose? What if I could have both? Woon's crystal ring glows when I'm near proof love doesn't care about dimensions. The kingdom rebuilt, people happy. This is the home I fought to save. I'm not split between worlds. I'm whole because I love deeply in both. Two skies, two moons, two lives. I wouldn't trade a single second of either. On Earth, I have my school, friends, the life I grew up in. On Mirak, I have a family, Sierra Gui, the little one who's part of both worlds. This crystal's a promise. Our love will cross worlds forever. The people welcomed me as their own home is who you love, not where. Back on Earth, my parents love me unconditionally, even with my double life. This moon bowl reminds me, no matter where I am, my worlds are connected. School feels normal, but I know the universe is bigger than textbooks and hallways. The crystal chamber lets us talk across dimensions. Love always finds a way. This ring's more than a promise. It's proof our love beats time and space. The moon connects us. Every time it shines, I know I'm loved in both worlds. My story doesn't end here. It's just the beginning. With two homes and two loves. I used to think I had to fit one world. Now I know I belong in both. With Kyung, I'm the ordinary girl I was, but with an extraordinary secret. With Woon, I'm the warrior, the queen in waiting, who fought for this world. This little one is the future proof. Love creates new things across worlds. Graduations, celebrations, both worlds take my breath away in their own way.